everyone, how's it going? Welcome to NoDQ&A video right here on NoDQ.com as well as the YouTube channel and NoDQ&A videos affiliate ringsidenews.com. A lot going on in the world of WWE right now between the Money in the Bank fallout, the build up to Battleground, and of course Roman Reigns' suspension from WWE. Got your questions, so let's get down to it. First one today comes from Aaron Rift Guy. After what happened with John Cena and AJ Styles, where do you see it going from here? Typically, with the John Cena feud, we see John Cena get his win back not once, not twice, sometimes even 3 times. Will it happen this time? I think because of the brand extension, there's a possibility that the John Cena and AJ Styles feud will be wrapped up shortly. Maybe they'll have one more match and Cena will get his win back and that'll be the end of it. They end up on separate shows. But there's always the chance that they could end up on the same show and the feud could continue and we could see the 4 or 5 Cena versus AJ Styles matches. Nothing at this point would surprise me. This one comes from Mr. Johnson. With John Cena having the odds stacked against him with the club, is there any chance of Cena getting 2 partners to even it up? I would like to see something like that because I think it would be better than doing John Cena versus all 3 club members and Cena just beats all 3 of them and gets the best of them. I like the fact that Cena is unable to handle all 3 of them. That way you can have somebody come in and align himself with Cena, and that person could potentially get the rub off of John Cena and be elevated to the next level with John Cena. You could also bring back somebody like Randy Orton. That's also a possibility as well. But it would be awesome if we saw one of the up-and-coming superstars in WWE, like a Sami Zayn or somebody like that, come to John Cena's aid and help him in the fight against the club. I would rather see that than John Cena just destroying all 3 club members by himself. I would like to see somebody help John Cena. This one comes from Ben Jarman. With Reigns being suspended, do you think that WWE will give up on him being the face of the company? Maybe as the baby face of the company, but not necessarily the heel of the company. I think that this is a good opportunity now. I mentioned this in the video I did with Jeff, that WWE could take a negative and turn it into a positive and use this to go forward with a Roman Reigns heel turn and let him be that character. We saw a side of Roman Reigns recently that I really liked when Roman Reigns was being overly aggressive and trash-talking Seth Rollins at the pay-per-view, trying to put him through the announce table, trying to spear him through the barricade, and telling the fans that were chanting, "You can't wrestle," to shut up and drink their beer. That's the Roman Reigns I want to see more of, and this could be WWE's opportunity to go in that direction. I still think Roman Reigns will continue to be pushed towards the top in WWE. Maybe he will not be the new John Cena. Maybe he'll be Roman Reigns and just be himself, and WWE will just go in a different direction with him rather than trying to make him John Cena 2.0. I hope that's the case. If that's the case, then in the end this could be a positive, not just for the fans, but Roman Reigns as well. This one comes from Aditya. Hey, when do you see Roman regaining the WWE title? That is hard to say because I doubt he will win the title back right away because of this suspension. I think he'll have to have a clean track record for several months before WWE puts the title on him again. The worst thing they could do is bring him back and keep pushing him as the babyface role model, and then he gets suspended again, and that would be even worse if he was champion. I just think to play it safe, WWE will wait on putting the title on him again, and this could mean a longer reign for Dean Ambrose. Now that this suspension has gone down, maybe Dean Ambrose will have several months with the championship. That could very well be a possibility. Got this one here from Rampager. Do you think the Roman Reigns suspension is fixed in order to delay the triple threat match until SummerSlam? No, because the word going around is that WWE knew about this suspension before Money in the Bank, and they already went through with announcing the match for Battleground. I think WWE is going with this match at Battleground because of the fact that we have the brand extension coming up, and there's a very realistic possibility that the 3 Shield members will be on different shows. At least 2 of them will be on one show, and the 3rd will be on another show. The idea is to just do this match now before the brand extension really goes into full swing, which I think is fine because there's other matches you can do for SummerSlam. You can do Seth Rollins versus Triple H. You can do Dean Ambrose versus Kevin Owens for the world title. There's a lot of different possibilities. I think the timing is just right to do the match at Battleground. Coming off the Money in the Bank pay-per-view, it makes perfect logical sense. Roman Reigns is a former WWE champion. He's entitled to a title shot. Seth Rollins is a former champion. He's entitled to a title shot. And they did that angle on Raw and set up the match. I thought it was well done. I think it's time to do the match at Battleground and just get it over with. This one comes from The Chase Allen. Hey Aaron, what is the greatest Raw in history, wrestling and entertainment-wise? Oh man, I'm not sure if I can answer the best Raw in terms of both wrestling and entertainment. I think the most memorable Raws to me, I think I would go with a couple. First, in 1997, the episode of Raw where Steve Austin beat the crap out of Bret Hart and Bret hurt his leg and was put in the ambulance, and then Steve Austin was in the ambulance and attacked Bret again, and then at the end Brian Pillman jumped Austin. That Raw was just a tremendous show, and that was really when WWF was starting to turn things around in the war against WCW, at least in terms of the quality of the television shows. And in 98, there were a lot of memorable Raws. The night after WrestleMania 14, and also before that, the night after the Royal Rumble, and the night after WrestleMania 15 was a memorable show. And in 2000, I remember the Raw where you had the 5-on-5 match. You had the Radicals and DX against The Rock, Cactus Jack, and Too Cool. The crowd was just red hot for that match and the entire show. From what I remember, that was a very memorable Raw. So those would be my top Raws, just the ones that I can think of off the top of my head. This one comes from Keith Blandford. Do you see Bruiser Brody getting Hall of Fame honors even though they missed the chance in Texas in 2016? Possibly at some point. I think that Bruiser Brody would definitely be a worthy candidate for the Hall of Fame, and I think a lot of people would like that. A lot of people in the wrestling industry think very highly of him and his accomplishments in the wrestling industry. But again, it goes back to the idea that WWE does not want to induct too many deceased people in the Hall of Fame in a short period of time. Now, I know his case is different. It wasn't natural causes. But still, I think that WWE likes to have people that are alive to do the induction speech and be there in person for it. So I think it will happen, but it might not happen for several more years. I think eventually he will go in. It's just a matter of the right timing for it. This one comes from Torvik. Hey Aaron, with both X-Pac and China starring in One Night in China, how would Shawn get in the Hall of Fame first? Triple H preference? The big difference is that One Night in China was a one-off deal, and X-Pac did not keep doing adult entertainment after that. China did. She pretty much turned it into a career for several years, and I think that that's the main reason why WWE was so against putting her in the Hall of Fame in the first place. With X-Pac, I mean, it was one time, and yeah, he is on better terms with WWE and has been on better terms with WWE over the years, and he's close with Triple H, so I think that also will play a role in it. Yeah, I just think it's unfortunate about China. You know, we've talked about this before, but it is what it is. But now that she passed away, WWE all of a sudden did a 180, and they honor China now, and they mention her. and she'll probably go into the Hall of Fame next year. I mean, it would not shock me if she did. This one comes from Grandma Does Stuff. Do you think kayfabe is still believable with shows like Breaking Ground and Swerved? It's not even Breaking Ground and Swerved that are the worst violators of kayfabe. In my opinion, it's just the internet in general and social media. When you have these guys that are supposed to be hated heels going on Twitter and posting all this stuff, it's hard to hate these guys when you see Kevin Owens posting pictures with his kids and holding a lion cub or a tiger cub. How are you supposed to boo the guy? I mean, that is worse than the stuff that's on the network. I mean, when you're paying $9.99, you're a hardcore fan, and I think a lot of fans that subscribe to the network want to see behind the scenes stuff, and they want to know more about the inside of the business. So I think it's very appealing to a lot of the paying customers of the network to get content that shows guys out of character doing real life stuff. So I don't really see the shows on the network as a bad thing, but the stuff that's on Twitter that the casual audience can see, to me that's the biggest violation of kayfabe. This one comes from The Undertaker Guy. With SummerSlam close by, what are some of the most underrated matches in SummerSlam history? Also, what is your favorite SummerSlam match? I would go way back to 1990, the Hart Foundation versus Demolition. I mean, that was one of my all-time favorite SummerSlam matches growing up, and Demolition, for whatever reason, hasn't gotten much recognition by WWE over the years. They were generally considered to be a knockoff of LOD, and when WWE got LOD into the company, Demolition pretty much just faded away. But I thought that they were a great tag team. I have fond memories of them as a kid, and I was really entertained by that match at SummerSlam. So that would be my number one. And Big Boss Man versus the Mountie, the jailhouse match the following year, I really enjoyed that one. And in more recent years, 2002 SummerSlam, Rey Mysterio and Kurt Angle. I mean, everyone remembers Shawn Michaels and Triple H and the main event, Brock Lesnar versus The Rock. But that pay-per-view kicked off with one of the best opening matches in WWE pay-per-view history, Kurt Angle versus Rey Mysterio. My favorite SummerSlam match, I mean, I just mentioned it, would probably be Shawn Michaels versus Triple H from 2002. Runner-up, maybe the TLC match from SummerSlam in 2000. Those would be my top matches right there. This one comes from Simon Lee. Hey Aaron, how would you have booked Christian's 2000 world title run, because the way WWE booked it just made it a joke? Well, I think I would have had him stay champion for longer than 5 days, or 2 days if you want to count when it was actually recorded. I think that WWE did redeem themselves, but I think a lot of it had to do with so much negative feedback. I remember when that went down, fans were furious online, and WWE ended up keeping that feud going. I think the original plan was just for Orton to beat him and move on. But because the fans were so vocal about being unhappy with Christian losing the title right away, WWE kept the feud going and eventually turned Christian heel. And in the end, it worked for Christian. He got a solid main event feud with Randy Orton for several months. I mean, it went from April all the way to SummerSlam. So things worked out for him for sure. And I think the screen just messed up there. This one comes from Hassan. Do you think WWE will ever push Alberto Del Rio for the world title shot? That's what they promised him, but not getting it yet. I think as long as he's getting paid the big bucks, it's not the end of the world. The money is very important. I'm sure getting the main event push is very important. I would be surprised though. I mean, maybe with the brand extension, Del Rio will be pushed again into the main event picture. But I'm thinking that it's unlikely to happen just because there's so many other guys in the mix now, and you have all these new people from NXT, and he's been lost in the shuffle for so long now. I find it hard to believe that one day WWE would just all of a sudden put him right back in the main event and he'll do great and everything will be fine. I just don't know about that, but maybe with the brand extension he'll have a better chance of maybe at least getting a title shot. This one comes from Mr. Yuck. Baron Corbin has been mediocre to say the least. Should he get a partner or go back to NXT? He needs some kind of makeover. He needs something, because right now he's not getting over with the audience, and I think part of that is due to how WWE has booked him. I mean, they've done him no favors by doing this 50-50 feud with Dolph Ziggler. Baron Corbin should have just destroyed Ziggler and gone on a rampage and been portrayed as a monster and protected. I mean, to me, he really hasn't shown enough charisma or personality. In the ring, he's pretty good, but pretty good isn't going to cut it when you have so many other guys on the roster that are killing it every single night. The Kevin Owens, Cesaro, Sami Zayn, all these guys are just delivering 4+ star matches on these shows, and when you're just good, you get lost in the shuffle, and that's what's happening with Baron Corbin. So maybe he needs a makeover, maybe he needs to be protected more, maybe he needs a tag team partner, he needs something, because right now it's not working for him. This one comes from Zach. Instead of Finn Balor, could you see any other new club members? Maybe the Young Bucks or even Kenny Omega? Not right now. I think that because those guys are under contract, they're not going to be brought in anytime soon. But I would like to see the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega in WWE. But who knows? By the time they end up in WWE, the club storyline might be over already. I'm not expecting the club to be around for several years. I think that this is a group that might last a few more months, and then that'll be the end of it. If they're going to bring any new club members, you mentioned here Finn Balor, it'll probably be him if there's going to be anybody added at all at this point. That'll do it for this edition of NoDQ&A video. Thanks as always for watching. If you enjoyed today's video, please share it. Tell a friend about NoDQ&A video. Subscribe, youtube.com/NoDQCAW or Aaron Rift NoDQ. Check out my personal channel at Aaron Rift on YouTube. And stay tuned to NoDQ.com for the very latest regarding the Roman Reigns suspension and WWE Battleground. See you next time.